Off my chest. Throwawaiter says. My husband is trans MTF. I have been married to my spouse for almost 2 years now. About 5 months ago they told me that they believed they were trans and wanted to go on hormone replacement therapy. I'm a heterosexual woman, but I loved my spouse, so I supported the journey as best as I could, with one ask. Talk to a therapist. It was the one thing I asked. We had a whole conversation about it. The very next day I was met with I don't think I should see a therapist until 3 months on HRT, because most changes don't start to become permanent until after that. So the one ask I had was swept aside. After a bit of back and forth, I conceded. The HRT started, and for a while things were going okay, they were happy, I was managing. Then it all went to shit. Almost 3 months into HRT, and no therapist has been looked for, found, or an appointment scheduled. I can no longer feel like an actual woman in my own home, because it's met with hostility and my words twisted to make me out to be the bad guy. We had a pretty big fight a few weeks ago. They went to their mom's house, stayed there for a week, and came back home. I was left alone with 2 kids to take care of, bus schedules to figure out, since I work out of the home, and they did work from home, all last minute and they didn't care. Well, here back home, and we got into a massive argument today, because they posted on Reddit that I supported their transition at first and now I don't, and the comments were saying all kind of nasty things about me, telling them to divorce me, and that I'm apparently happy they're miserable. All because they want bottom surgery and I'm not into women. I married a man, not a woman, I'm straight, not a lesbian. Nothing against anyone from the LGBT community, but just like you can't control who you are, I can't control who I am. I have supported them every step of the way, helped pick out clothes, wigs, makeup, things to make them feel more like who they said they were, and they didn't defend me or anything when people on their post called me transphobic. Just because I'm not into women. Apparently I can't be hurt by the things they said or did. There was an emotional affair but it wasn't like that. I can only comfort them and make them feel better because my feelings hurt this. Thief moved into the space room. Haven't slept in the same bed in about a week now. Am I really the bad guy here? I feel like I'm going crazy right now. Eater. First and foremost, I read every comment good or bad, and I just want to say thank you to everyone for your perspective and opinions. Second, I would like to answer a few things and provide clarity. 1. When we first got together they were into pegging, totally fine, had a great time, our sex life was amazing. Then it went into sissification, and then they discovered they were trans. That's how that happened. 2. Planned Parenthood did one telezoom thing and prescribed a testosterone blocker and estrogen. Only gone for blood work once at the beginning. That's how that happened. 3. I refer to my spouse as they/them and do not give our ages or specific information because they are only out to 2 people, including me, and they don't want people to know yet, so I'm providing as little detail and being as neutral as possible. I was asked to keep the he/him around the people that don't know in public. They're just not ready to come out, and it's not my place to out them. 4. One of our children is 9, and the other is barely over a year. The 9-year-old doesn't really get it, and the baby is too small to understand. They also do not want to be called mom because, in their words, you earned that title and I did not. I hope that cleared some things up. Also, to the person who asked why my account was made 2 years ago and is just now being used. I made it intending to come here and get advice on things, being a mom, being a wife, if I was an R in fights, etc. But I forgot about it, only remembering it after our fight when I was looking for somewhere to vent. Shrug. Also, my brother is FTM trans, so this is not new to me. Dear Parsnip 6802 says, you are not the bad guy. You are attracted to men and you married a man. You have been more accommodating than a lot if others would be. I think it's time to put yourself first, because obviously all your efforts in supporting your spouse are not appreciated. You are not transphobic if you want a divorce. Wolflicky says, it sounds like your partner is really self-centered. I understand the desire to work things out for oneself, but before anything went wrong, they ought to have spoken with an expert to ascertain their identities and feelings, to assist them in realizing the effects this would have on their wife, children, and family. Zeralus1 says, I have read a lot of similar posts. I have no problem with the person transitioning, however, going up to your wife and saying, guess what, you're a lesbian now, congrats, shouldn't be a thing. Thebad87 says, I wonder if they mentioned in their Reddit post about leaving their wife and kids alone for a freaking week. Not the bad guy in my eyes. I think people need to understand that, even though we want to support them, we also have the right to still be attracted to what we are attracted to. r/offmychest. I found a reason says, I have no friends. I 31 female, have no one. I guess I'm here to just get it off my chest and tell someone other than my fiance. So I guess I have one person, but I've always wanted a friend. Someone who I would call when I'm mad or down. Someone who gets me or just wants to hang out. I will be getting married this fall and it's becoming increasingly loud that I have no one to invite. No one to ask to help pick my wedding dress with. No one to share the fun with. I'm aware that my fiance is there, but don't you ever want to just want a friend? Does this even make sense? Why has this happened to me? Why do I suck so much? God. I really am not sure if posting this will even help or make things worse. I guess I'm just looking for some sort of response from a human other than my own head. Tapadministrative 929 says, just lost my recent girl best friend over something dumb. So new one is much needed and welcomed. Uknora Detark6 says, I don't have anyone either. I had one person, and now we are in the middle of a breakup. I honestly think I'm gonna go full hermit though. Barbie Bausch says, I haven't had friends in a long time. I have like my husband's best friends with her, but we rarely even talk and see each other maybe once a year, if we are lucky. She's kinda snobby too. My issue is I have none of myself to spare at the end of the day after work, the kids and animals and the responsibilities that come with it. I want friends, but at the end of the day I know I'm going to be a flake BC if I can sit quietly at home and recharge for the next day. I'm going to choose that 100% of the time. Severe and 777 says, same. Anyone I ever got close with just took advantage and left at some point. My circle is down to 4 people, including my husband. r/offmychest. Plablapla says, slept with a friend, IDK what to do now. I 25 female, moved to a new city in December. Went to a housewarming party with a friend a few weeks later and met boy 25 male, who was the host. Turns out boy and I had met before as well in another city we were living in and moved to this new city around the same time. Boy and I started hanging out a lot, almost every day post work, on weekends, etc. Initially it was with other friends too, and at some point it just became the 2 of us, and that was cool too. I never got any vibes from him, like he was making a move on me, so I was also very happy just hanging out every day with a friend, platonically. My girlfriends thought something might happen, because of how often and how long we were hanging out. Anyway, yesterday we were at my place, drinking, watching a movie on the couch and we kinda got comfortable, and he said something on the lines of wanting to kiss me and I said something along the lines of why don't you? Long story short, we kissed, slept together, and he left today morning because I had some family members visiting. Things have been good only so far, and our understanding is that this might become a recurring FWB thing. I have a lot of fun with him, he's great, nice. I would love to keep hanging out and doing this with him. I'm also not someone who does random hookups because sex is a bit of an emotional thing for me. I don't think that's the case with him. Now IDK what to do. I would love to keep doing this, but I might develop romantic feelings for him eventually in a few weeks if this keeps happening. But it'll be wrong and unfair to him, especially if our understanding is for FWB. IDK what is the right thing to do here? In the moment I don't think there's an issue, but what I choose to do might change things in the future. What do I do? Cyanide Revolver says, best thing to do is simply have a grown-up conversation about it. Tell him you enjoy seeing him and want to continue seeing him, but also make him aware of where you want the relationship to go. Additionally, listen to what he has to say about it, and ultimately you should both respect what the other puts forward. Burrito Boy 2902 says, this I agree with this. Sweaty Pants says, this message is endorsed by you/Burrito Boy 2902. BGJ48 says, you do know what to do, you just don't want to do it. Grown up, uncomfortable conversations need to happen. If you're not on the same page, which it sounds like you aren't, or at least you don't think you will be, let him know. Rutchbacker says, this sounds like a normal romantic relationship that will either evolve or end. FWB does not sound like your thing. Hater94 says, I mean, the way you described it sounds to me like the progression of a normal romantic relationship. Prob just talk to him about it. Time for the what are we talk lol. Afraid of buys 1000 says, sounds like you are falling for each other. That is so sweet. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.